first rule when automating on browser is that you must first have the browser installed on your system. For this tutorial, I will show you how to automate on Chrome and Firefox, but you can also automate on Edge or Opera or any other browser. The idea is the same. You just need to install that particular browser, and then you need to download the appropriate driver for that browser. So there are multiple ways in which you can use the web drivers for a specific browser, but today we are going to talk about how to install the web drivers using 3 different methods. So first of all, we are assuming that we are on a Linux machine and we already have Chrome and Firefox installed. So the next thing is to configure Selenium so that you can start automating on the browser itself. For that, there are a few options. So we need to download the specific web driver for the browsers we have, so that we can make the connection between Robot Framework, Selenium, and the browser we want to automate on. The first approach is to directly download your Chrome driver or Gecko driver onto your operating system and put it inside a folder that is inside the path. So first thing we are going to do is to search on the on Google Chrome driver. This is for Chrome. We will go to downloads, and here we can see a lot of versions that are available. In order to see which version is compatible with your installed browser, you can open up Chrome. I have mine right here, and if I go to help and about, I can see that my current Chrome version is 89.0.4389. So I am searching for the Chrome driver that is specific to this version, and I have it here. It's 89.0.4389. I will click on this because there is no Chrome driver available for 64-bit operating system. I will choose the Chrome driver 32. This will download, and I will open it inside the downloads folder with WinRAR. And the idea is to extract this into a folder that is in your system path. If you followed my course and you already installed all the dependencies, meaning Robot Framework, Python, and so on, you already know how to configure your system path. So in order to see what paths are available, you can go to System Properties, Environment Variables, and here under Path, you can click on Edit, and you see what are the folders that are currently in your path. So I prefer, when using this technique of downloading the Chrome driver manually, I prefer to put it somewhere in the path, and that somewhere in this case will be the same folder where I installed the Python 3.8. So I will open up a Windows Explorer. I will go to Python 3.8, and all I'm going to do is to drag and drop this Chrome driver in this location. For me, I had to replace it because I've downloaded before, but anyway, this is the way to do it. And also for Firefox, we have a web driver that is called Gecko driver. If you search that on Google, you can see the latest release, and here you can also download for Windows 64. You open that up like you did with the Chrome driver. You navigate to the folder that is in path and you put it in there. Again, replace for me because I already have it. Let's go ahead now and create a simple test case that will demonstrate if we have correctly installed our Chrome driver by direct download. So as I was saying, we are going to use Selenium library for the as robot framework library, and we are going to use commands that are written for this library. And the first command we need when we want to launch an automatic test on a browser is very suggestive. It's called the 𝗵𝗵𝗆𝗆 keyword. So this is the keyword. Let's actually open up our PyCharm. I will add a new project. Okay, I'm creating a new project. If you have followed my previous videos, you already know how to configure this. So we go to settings, we go to project interpreter, we have Python 3.8 here, and then in languages and frameworks, I always like to capitalize keywords and then set the imports depth to 5. Okay, so now I can create a sample test case. It will be like test.robot. But before we can actually create a test case for mobile, we must make sure that we have the Selenium library installed. So if I open up a terminal and I write pip list, I should get a list of all the pip dependencies installed on my system, and the part I am interested in is right here at the bottom. It is robot framework - Selenium library. We will cover the subject of actually installing the library in a future video. But for now, we just know that we have it. So I will go along and type inside the settings section. I will import the library. And then we will have some test cases. I will put a name to it. And I will just call this 𝗵𝗵𝗆𝗆 keyword. And this keyword is calling for the URL and the browser name, and after that we have some other arguments if we want to do that. But for the moment, let's keep it simple. I will only open up the google.com website in Chrome. I will open up a terminal and I will say robot test.robot, and right now I should have the Chrome browser that is opening to Google, and I see that it works. If I want to do the same thing on Firefox, I just replace Chrome with Firefox and I launch the same test again. And again, as you can see, Firefox opens Google Chrome web page. Right. Let's say that I don't have these here. Let me just delete the two web drivers. For some reason, WebDriver is still open because I did not close the browser. Yeah, here we are. I will end this task. So I will delete this. And now, for example, if I want to launch the test, I should get an error. Yeah, So when you want to verify if you have the environment correctly set up and your Chrome driver is well put in place, if you see this kind of message that it's telling you that Chrome driver needs to be in path, and for that you should see the documentation. And the same thing goes with Firefox. If I launch the same test, it tells me that the gecko driver executable needs to be in path. So that was the first method of installing and configuring your WebDriver for Selenium, for Chrome and Firefox. Now, there are some downsides to this method, because when your browser is updating, you must also keep in mind that for Chrome at least, you must go on the downloads page and you must download a new WebDriver each time that happens. But I will show you another 2 ways of executing tests with WebDrivers, and you can choose whichever method you want. The second method is to install your WebDriver with the Selenium standalone, which is actually a Selenium server that can run on your machine. If you have followed my mobile automation tutorial, you already have Node installed. If not, for this operation, you need to download and install Node.js on your Windows machine. Once that is done, you can go ahead and launch this command. So we're going to say npm install Selenium standalone -g, and this will install Selenium standalone server. And then we are going to say Selenium standalone install, and in the output we are going to see which versions of the WebDrivers were actually installed. So we can see that for Chrome, for example, we got lucky and we had the latest version, the one that we needed. And also for Firefox, we had the version 0.29 for Gecko driver. So from this point of view, this seems like the installation was successful and it downloaded the right WebDriver versions. So all we have to do now in this browser is to launch this command, Selenium standalone. Now, Selenium standalone is going to be a recognized application because it has been installed with npm. So we are going to say start. And we can see that the information message tells us that Selenium is version 3.141.59 and it is running on this port. Now what this means is that if we go on the Selenium library documentation webpage, we can see that inside the open browser keyword, among any other capability, there is this capability or this argument called remote URL. And this is actually what we are going to use to tell our robot framework not to search for the Chrome driver executable like the one we used earlier, but we are telling it to search on the local host on that specific port. And this port is, of course, corresponding to this port. So now when we are launching the automatic test, we should see also the Selenium logs that are being displayed. So we are getting the same result. We are redirected to google.com, but this time we can also see the Selenium logs. This particular method is handy when I don't know, maybe you have some tests that are failing for unknown reasons. And this way you can debug exactly what Selenium saw and how Selenium acted when it was time to execute certain commands on that browser. And of course, if we modify here and we type in Chrome instead of Firefox, let me just open the terminal again. And there we have it. The browser is open to the same web page. And now these are the logs that are being displayed for Chrome. In order to shut the Selenium server down, all we have to do is Control-C and exit. So this would be the second method of installing Selenium on your system. Of course, each time you need to update or your browser updates, you also need to update your drivers. But the best thing is that with this approach, it's much easier to update. And when you want to do that, you only need to type in selenium-standalone install --drivers.chrome.version equal. And here we can download any version of the Chrome driver that we need. For example, let's say we want to download this version. So this would be 87.04280. Let's see if that works. And we can see that Chrome has installed indeed the version that we needed. Here we go. So this is how you can switch from one version of Chrome driver to another. Let me go ahead and uninstall this because I'm not going to use this approach, but I'm going to use the third approach that I was mentioning earlier. So let me go ahead and say npm uninstall Selenium standalone -g, and this will remove the packages along with any other modules that were installed on the system. Alright, now that Selenium standalone with Node has been uninstalled, I can go ahead and type in selenium-standalone, and I can see that now this is no longer a recognized command. So the third option of installing a WebDriver is by installing a package called WebDriver Manager with pip, and this will be my method of choice. So I will go ahead and type in pip install WebDriver Manager. This will install the dependency, and in order to install a certain WebDriver for a certain browser, I can type in WebDriver Manager, and for example Chrome, and remember for Chrome we had this version, so I will paste that in here and I will let the command run. The Chrome driver is being installed, and now I am also going to download for Firefox. And now I can analyze the logs. It says that for Chrome driver, it downloaded version 89.04389. So that is exactly the version of Chrome I'm having on my system. And for Firefox, it was version 0.29. But the interesting thing is that now it tells me that the download is completed, but in order to use it, I must have this location in my path as an environment variable, otherwise it won't be recognized. So let's do that now. I'm copying this. I'm still having this window open. I will go ahead, type new, and I will simply paste that value. Okay, okay. Now, for example, if I launch the same command again, I will get the same error because the command prompt was not restarted after I added that location to path. Let me just try again. And if we paste this in, we can see that yes, the Chrome driver has been installed and we are no longer getting the error message. So now we know that when we want to update or downgrade to a certain version of Chrome driver or Gecko driver, all we have to do is to launch this command. So it's WebDriver, then the name of the browser, and then the version. And let's see if that works. Now, because we are no longer using Selenium server, we are no longer using this part of the code. So let me go ahead and launch the Chrome. Yeah, this terminal also needs to be restarted. test.robot. Okay, it seems that I have to restart PyCharm in order to have it recognize the Chrome driver. Okay, PyCharm is restarted. Let's go ahead and type that in again. test.robot, and you can see now that this is working. All good for Chrome. Let's check the Firefox. test.robot, and the Firefox browser starts and gets us to the Google homepage. So that's the way you install and configure Selenium on your operating system, along with your browsers and your web drivers, in order to start automating on your mobile. I hope this course was interesting. Please like and subscribe if you haven't done so already, and I will see you in the next videos.